What's up, guys? Shawn Bowen, Full Circle Investment Group, wholesalingoutofthebox.com. Back at it again. And we're in here this time with another podcast, fortunately with another person that came through our Wholesaling Out of the Box group. His name is Joel. He has worked with us in the past, closed some deals, and then had moved north and went back home, was in the military. And so he brought him on today to talk about what he's done and how he's done it, and then where he's at now and what he's doing from when he started here in Hampton Roads working with us to where he's at now back in Philly, in his hometown doing his own business. So what's up, Joel? How you doing, man? Tell us a little about yourself. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? My name is Joel Bonilla. I'm a local person from the Philly area, joined the military around 2015. Probably about 2 years in, I had met Shawn Bowen at a trig meeting and, going around telling people that I wanted to get involved in real estate, didn't really have the money to do it. And they said, Shawn was the guy to talk to. So spoke with Shawn. He encouraged me to get into wholesaling. I had heard of it before, really didn't think of it was my kind of a deal. Like most people, I wanted to jump into apartments and all the other flashy stuff, flips. And, he kind of bunkered me down and said, let's start with the meat and potatoes and start learning what a deal is. So I jumped into the Wholesaling Out of the Box group. It was a great step for me to really get to know what deals look like, how to talk to sellers, all the stuff you need to do. Because, a lot of guys are out here, they want deals, but to know how to go and source your own deals and, grab them for yourself is a skill that just can't be matched.
Awesome, man. So we go through these podcasts and we do these questions, and I've got about 10 or 11 questions that we go through for everybody that's listening and usually catching up with us. So you kind of touched on a little about yourself, and then you touched on how'd you get started in real estate. What made the specific decision? Like you said, you got shiny object, right? Apartments, you got fix and flips. What made you decide to do the wholesaling specifically? What got you to step and say, yep, that's what I'm saying on?
So what got me into, I guess, wholesaling is that, I really wanted to start buying property, but I knew that I wasn't going to be staying in the Hampton Roads area forever. And I didn't think that I was necessarily ready to buy something and leave it. But, I still had another 2 years or so in the military. And I didn't just want to get stuck in paralysis analysis and be talking about, the power of real estate and the power of cash flow and not doing anything. So I found wholesaling through you guys, and I knew that was my way to get as much education as I could and, get some, capital gains and some money and some funds through that without having to actually put my name on the dotted line and, get things rolling.
Awesome. So using the experience in the group setting for wholesaling out of the box was able to make you a final decision and kind of get you in that direction, right?
For sure.
Awesome. All right. So we kind of talked about that, what was specific, and then go down, because if I remember correctly, there was one specific thing that kind of got you going. Like, what specifically got you involved with wholesaling out of the box? What group or meeting or area did you go that kind of solidified you to meet me and wholesaling out of the box?
As far as my knowledge, I remember meeting at Trig and meeting at where we would meet locally at the different bars. Hopportunity.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think that was really the first time I met you. Actually had spoken on wholesaling at that. That's correct. And that's definitely where we first met. And then I remember taking the leap of faith later on, meeting you again at Trig.
I remember one of your statements after you did your first deal, and it was right before you moved out of town. You had said it was crazy that you went to go to this meeting to go have a beer and talk real estate, and if that had never happened, you just never knew if it would have launched you into the direction you went. I thought that was cool. That was a cool statement. I'm just going to go listen to what these people have to say. I'm going to have a beer, and then it completely launched you into a career direction of wholesaling and staying in real estate. I thought that was pretty cool.
For sure. And I feel like a lot with other groups, it's, they want a suit and tie, and, they want you to come down and sit professional. And I've been to a couple of those groups, and that's all good and well, not knocking them. But, to go down and, grab a beer, come out in shorts and a T-shirt and relax and, nitty gritty talk with some normal people and get, the meat and potatoes, that was cool for me.
Awesome. All right. What's the best piece of advice you were ever given? And it can either be from this group, life in general, people in your past, but I always like to ask everybody, what was the best piece of advice you were ever given, towards the real estate business?
The best piece of advice that I got, probably, I don't remember exactly who I heard it from. I think it may have been Alex Winfield saying that he had heard it from someone, was that don't wait to buy real estate, or don't wait to get into real estate. Get into real estate and wait, or buy real estate and wait. I thought that stuck with me forever now. And I always think of that saying whenever I'm, hesitant on getting into something or getting into a deal. I'd rather get into it and wait and see what comes from it.
Nice. So get in now and wait. Don't procrastinate, right?
Right. Nobody wishes that they started later in life.
Ain't that the truth? Man, if I had started earlier, those are the stories I always hear, right?
Exactly.
All right. What's the best business book you ever read or you ever recommended to read?
The best business book that I've probably read, I'm sure everybody says there's so many, but I guess, obviously, there's the Purple Bible, but which is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I know Jake kind of touched on that. So I guess if I'm going to go a different book, I'm going to say the 4-Hour Work Week. That one really kind of just, especially, being in the military, it kind of contradicted everything that we were told, that, the more hours you put in it meant that your job was more important. And I think anything with wholesaling and, doing it on the side, it was like, you can get $100,000 worth of work if you're hustling on the phones and you're answering phone calls, and it not come out to 40 hours a week. It could come in less. You could get a $20,000 deal with just one phone call, or you could knock out 80 hours a week and get a deal. And I think 4-Hour Work Week kind of, simplifies things, because, from cutting out, looking at your email all the time and checking my email at certain points of the day, it's easy to get distracted and extend your time.
Nice. All right. So everybody listening, get that book. That's a big one. It's one of mine as well. I enjoyed the 4-Hour Work Week, and I forgot the author. Do you remember who the author was?
Is it Tim Ferriss?
Actually, I think you're right. I think it is Tim Ferriss. I think you're right. Awesome. Okay. What was your biggest setback since you got into real estate? What's the biggest hurdle you remember being like, damn it, I missed it? What happened?
My biggest hurdle probably was, getting uncomfortable saying the things that I needed to say to sellers. Going back in for reductions, I probably missed deals just for not asking for reductions, or not, asking the correct way. I think that's probably my biggest regret, is probably leaving some money on the table because I was afraid of some conflict with speaking to someone.
So getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
For sure.
Nice. You feel like that's improved since you've been in the game?
For sure. I mean, now, like we've spoken on briefly before, is, going from part-time and kind of having, the Navy as a fallback and some income as a fallback. Once you go full-time, if you can't eat if you don't put the money on, get the money on the table. So it's like, for me, I'd rather have that person angry at me and curse at me for giving them a price that I know would work and would make something for myself than leave that on the table.
Nice. All right. And then the next one's obviously the best part. What's the biggest success you've had since you've been in?
The biggest success that I've had, I say the biggest success is getting it to where now that I'm doing it full time. I think
Nice.
that's my biggest success, is, being able to transition from everything that I learned from wholesaling out of the box and completely take it to a complete opposite market and know that it's working the same way and that it didn't change. Yeah, the prices changed. Yes, the type of different people that we met and how they hold themselves changed. But overall going from one state to a complete other and being able to pick up and pretty much 10x what I was doing by going full time.
Hell yeah. So going full time, knowing that it works, using the simple, we call it the KISS process, right? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And go and transplant that existing process into a new area and just tweaking it to match that area. But you're not reinventing the wheel, right? It's the same thing. That's awesome.
For sure.
All right. What's your favorite part of the business so far since you've been in wholesaling? What's your favorite part of all of this, and the transactions to the acquisitions to the dispositions? Like, what's your favorite part?
I guess my favorite part is being on the hunt, talking to people, seeing just, in the different things that we're taught to say and how to control conversations. I like the acquisition side of doing that, and then also seeing how it transpires in just other parts of life with talking to people and really breaking down what they're saying and really getting to the meat and potatoes. Because when you're talking to people, it's so easy to just give like a yes or no answer, but really getting down to the whys. And I think we touch a lot on that in Wholesaling Out of the Box. Yeah,
for sure. Talking to sellers, really trying to see if you can help them, paying attention to their why, of course, is like, why are they selling versus bed, bath, square footage? All that is massively more important than the number. Because ultimately, if the seller, and I think you can agree with this because I think you've had those aha moments too, right? If the seller likes you, trusts you, and believes you, the deal's done. The money's not really the hurdle at all.
Right.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So you get a lot of guys that listen to these podcasts. You get a lot of newbies. You get a lot of experienced people. But what are you looking forward to with investing in the next few months, or where you see yourself in like a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year picture? Where are your goals setting that you're trying to finish out here?
I guess my goal setting for the 1 year mark would be to use my VA loan again to get another multifamily. I closed on one leaving the Virginia area. I closed on one in Philadelphia. I'd like to, now that I've honored my 1 year of owner occupancy, to house hack again, to do that again. I guess the 3 year to 5 year mark would be to explore into other avenues of real estate, whether, partnering with some of the guys that I have here on some kind of fix and flip or some kind of a renovation. I think, I know another thing we've kind of talked on is that, you can't ignore the kind of the flashy side of the flips, and everybody's going to try and go and get into it. So go to get my feet wet in another avenue, whether it's a flip or whether it's buying a distressed property for a rental, but definitely getting into the rehab side and taking that leap of faith next.
Cool. So transitioning from wholesaling, knowing how to find the deals, into the fix and flip / buy and hold, and start playing that game.
For sure.
Awesome. Final question, and I ask this to every single person because you've gone through it, you've done the deal, you realize it's real, right? And everybody gets to hear these podcasts or see these videos, and there's tons of them out there, right? What can you recommend and suggest to the new person that's like, I want to do this, but is it real? And how do I do it? What can you suggest to them that maybe you learned or you wish you had done different, but for sure, if you're speaking to somebody that wants to get into it, what would you suggest to them to do to be like, this is your step in order to make progress?
First, I would say, you really have to answer the question, what do you have to lose? What is there really to lose by, if wholesaling's fake, but you learn how to, properly analyze a property to what you can buy it for, or if you understand how, like, what the basics of the rehab numbers are for, you learn something at the end of the day. If I'm talking to my Virginia Hampton Roads people, I'm like, your first step needs to be after that, or your second step would be getting plugged in, finding people who are really doing it. Coming to the Philly market, there was a lot of people that I thought were doing the game, and they're not doing the game. They're piggybacking deals, and they're like, not that piggybacking deals, but I don't know if that many people are really doing it there, but they'll reach out to somebody that, hey, can I blast this out to my list and put a little bump on it to get a fee out of it? There's a lot of that here, and you see them pumping them out so much that you really think that they're doing them. Really see who's doing it. So in Virginia and in Hampton Roads area, obviously they know wholesaling out of the box is really getting after it. For anybody that's listening to this not in that area, go plug in, go ask around, and go ask who's really doing the deals. And don't ask them out for coffee. Don't ask them out for, dinner. Remember that their time is valuable. That's something that I've learned recently talking with like some, very successful people in this game, is that don't disrespect them by asking for a cup of coffee. Their time isn't worth $10. Their time isn't worth, lunch for $20. Bring them, offer something, offer to go find deals, offer to JV those deals with them. But, definitely fact check who those people are, because some people are, you see it in like the Facebook groups, people get burnt. So definitely, find out who's really doing it to get you to the next level.
Awesome. So taking action, vetting the people that you're trying to learn from, and really taking the time to learn the craft of being a wholesaler and what it details is what I got out of that answer. Is that about right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, guys, there it is. Another podcast, another awesome friend that we've made. And man, Joel did some deals with us. I've kept in touch with him since he's been up in Philly. Just, meeting people in the business and watching them grow, man, that's all part of it. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this, Joel. I know it's kind of in the middle of your day, so I appreciate you taking the time.
For sure.
Well, there you go, guys. Thanks again for taking the time to listen to this. For those that are here and stuck around, please go to wholesalingoutofthebox.com. Check us out. If you want to meet at one of our local meetings there, you've got the events tab. You can go check out Hopportunity. You can come to see one of our events where we go to the office and talk. You can come to a property walkthrough, learn how to do estimating. So tons of information there for you. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast and subscribe. And we look forward to helping you and working with you on your next deal. Talk to you guys soon.